Dolly Rebecca Parton was born on January 19th, 1946, to a family of 11 kids, and they were a farming family and they were very poor. Dolly Parton came from nothing and made a name for herself in the music industry and in the world. And today I will be telling you about how Dolly Parton's childhood and young adulthood led to her music career, her musical achievements, and all of her achievements outside her musical career. Dolly Parton was born and raised in Sevier County, Tennessee, and at the age of 8, she received her first guitar. And then, whenever all of her musical dreams started, she started writing songs and playing guitar then. At the very young age of 10, she started playing music with her guitar and singing her songs on local television and local radios. And then at the age of 13, she played for the first time for the Grand Ole Opry. Dolly Parton graduated in 1964, and then she moved to Nashville. And there, the first day she was in Nashville, she met her husband, Carl Dean. Shortly, a few months after they had started dating, Carl Dean joined the military, but they made the promise to get married whenever he came back, and they did on May 30th in 1966. But Dolly told Carl that just because she's married, she was not going to stay at home and be a stay-at-home wife, and that she still was going to pursue her musical dreams, and she did just that. The first person to recognize Dolly was Porter Wagoner, and he helped her sign a record deal with RCA Records. And at first, they signed the record together, but then she became a solo artist in 1974. And some of her first hit songs were Jolene and I Will Always Love You, and they actually were both wrote in the same day, and they're some of her biggest hits. Then shortly, actually a year after, she became a solo artist in 1974, and then to 1975 and 1976, she became Female Vocalist of the Year. And then she kept going with her achievements in music, and in 1977, she wrote Here You Come Again, and that actually she crossed barriers in the music world, and she hit number 3 on the pop charts and number 1 in the country charts, which that song brought her her first Grammy. Dolly made a big image for herself in country music and the pop industry, but her music career was not where she stopped. Growing up, Dolly Parton did not think she was very beautiful naturally, so once she got the money, she used her money and other efforts to make herself feel as if she was beautiful, and these are some of the things that she's most known for, is how beautiful she is and the way she dresses and the way she presents herself. Dolly Parton also moved on to the Hollywood world, and she was a star in 9 to 5, which was written about her song 9 to 5. And in the song, she's talking about getting revenge or getting back at someone who tries to hold her back, specifically a boss in that statement, who's trying to hold her back from her dreams. And the movie is about 3 grown women who are trying to get back at their bosses who are their enemies. And Dolly Parton also wrote the soundtrack for this movie, which the soundtrack again crossed barriers in the music world, and she hit records on the charts for pop and country music, and that soundtrack actually led for her to get an Academy Award. And then she kept going. In 1983, she got one of her biggest hits with Kenny Rogers with Islands in the Streams as one of her big duet hits. But in 1984 hit a really rough time for Dolly Parton. She was diagnosed with a disease in her uterine line that the only treatment was a partial hysterectomy, which caused her to be infertile and she could no longer have children. And that was one of Dolly Parton's biggest dreams at the time, was to become a mom ever since she was little. So this caused her to go into a deep depression, and then she was even suicidal at one point because of all the stuff that she was going through. But Dolly decided to turn that around and to turn towards her energy that she had for the sadness into good. So Dolly soon opened Dollywood, and the reason why she opened this is because she wanted to give back to her community and provide jobs for people in her community, and she did that. She used her own personal money from her music industry to start building Dollywood, which is actually only 10 miles away from her childhood home. And whenever she was building Dollywood, she recognized that a bunch of the roads were too poorly taken care of, and they weren't in good enough condition for people to come to an amusement park. So she went to the government, the national government, and she also went to the state, and she got money from each. She got $1.5 million from the government, and then $500,000 from the state, and then she provided her own $40 to $50 million. So doing this, she built the amusement park, which built up 4,000 jobs for everybody in her community, and she also fixed the roads around them. And she did not just stop there with her community service and giving back to the people around her from her good fortune. She also made the Imagination Library, which gives free books to children. And in 2020, it actually reached, the organization had given away over 150,000 books for free. All this work that Dolly Parton had done, she did not seek recognition for, but she did get recognition as she deserved. In 2004, the Library of Congress gave her the Living Legend Award or medal, and it was for her contribution to American culture. And then she was also awarded the National Medal of Artisan in 2005, and then again in 2006, she was given the Kennedy Center Honors. Dolly Parton did a lot of great things in her life, and all the things she did out of gratitude, because she came from nothing and became something like she wanted, and she wanted other people around her to be inspired to do so. Dolly Parton has done amazing things in her lifetime, and her legacy will live on for many years to come. And now we just sit back and wait to see more great things that she will do in the future.